I guess the audience is curious because I'm kind of curious too. How did you start operating more in the feminine? That's the question I'm going to ask, because most women operate, as you said, it's a man's world. So then a lot of times women feel like they have to operate more in their masculine. So what was that journey like for you personally?
Yeah, sure. So, I think what happened is I came to realize, okay, I was very depressed for a really long time. And I kind of woke up one day and said, hey, I want to know more about who I am and understand the world. And that led me down to understanding what feminine and masculine, because I was uh, unhappy because I was holding more masculine energy and it was kind of not beneficial. It wasn't serving me. So when I understood more what the differences between what is masculinity and femininity, then I knew what I don't want, so that I could move more towards what I do want. And as a woman, there's a lot of power if you understand what being feminine is and what that represents, and hone in on that, and it helps elevate you.
Interesting. So, like as you said, you held more masculine energy and it made you depressed. But what did that masculine energy look like for you, and how did it affect the relationships around you?
Well, yeah, well, you're more like combative and you're more aggressive, and you like in my own intimate relationship, you it's almost like you don't feel like you belong. You don't know where your place is,
Okay.
right? You don't know where your place is, and you are kind of more standoffish with your partner because you're kind of competing with them to lead. I know better, or I know more than you, uh, or what ends up happening as well is that you then shy away of taking your role. So you're not doing
Mm.
either, right? You're trying to do the guy, but then you're avoiding the role that you should be doing. So you're kind of not doing anything. So you end up
Mm.
being more, you basically tend to be more masculine, because a feminine, like to be in your femininity, it still requires you to take action. Like you have to do it, just being there. You gotta how you make decisions, what kind of actions you take. If you're masculinity, if you're being more masculine or if you're being more feminine, will determine how that looks and how it unfolds.
I like that answer. I have a follow up question though. You talk about the roles. What are the roles?
Of feminine.
So feminine, masculine.
Yeah, so usually feminine is like you follow and you receive, right? You're supportive,
Okay.
right? And the masculine is usually they lead. They because okay, if you want to go down to like more of what the energy represent,
Yes.
usually the masculine is a straight line, so it has direction. So you can think of it more that way. It's more like analytical. It's going in a straight line. As a feminine is a circle, and it's more it holds, right? So
Mm.
you want to break it into those concepts, but you can bring it. You could take a general concept and then build on top of it and say, okay, these would be the traits, or these would be some of the elements that represent, the circle and the line.
So I love that you said that men are more logical and women
Yes.
are more emotional from my
Yes.
level of
Yes.
understanding.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of times, and again, this is why we're going to break this down because of the
Yeah.
miscommunication. A lot of guys, and I've made this mistake plenty of times, try to logic explain to women, and it literally goes past their heads because to them, they hear your logic, but they can't receive it because it doesn't align with the emotion.
Yeah, they have to feel it. So you have to
Mm.
explain in a way that they're feeling what you're explaining to them, not just trying to analytically explain it, because they won't
Mm.
understand that. And just vice versa. If a girl tries to explain their emotions to a guy, they won't understand that. So both in a way to bridge that and kind of meet in the middle.
See, my thing is this, and I'm learning this as a man, is never try to logic explain to a woman. Don't do it. Penetrate her with love. When she's feeling some type of way, either moody or feeling like her emotions are not making sense to her, or her emotions are like the ocean, they're up and they're down. The only thing you could do as a man is literally penetrate her with love. Let her know that she's still loved. Penetrate her with love. But if she doesn't want to be penetrated with love, then you got a whole nother problem.
Well, then there's nothing you can do because she has to be open to receiving it.
Exactly. But even in those states, like whatever state she's in, like the ocean, she always has to be willing to be penetrated with love. And some women can't handle that. Even in their different states, they're going through things in life. Their emotions are up and down. There are women, and this is where I think there's power in femininity, because even though their emotions are always shifting all the time, they still know how to be penetrated with love.
Yeah.
And I think that for me is femininity, because a woman who doesn't know how to be penetrated with love when her emotions are literally like the ocean, and doesn't know how to, that's a bad ocean, but but can't be penetrated with love. There's a whole, now we have to pull back the layer and look at something else. Because no, go ahead.
I'm thinking as you're talking.
Because that's what I read from one of my books called The Way of the Superior Man.
Yeah.
Don't walk away from a woman when she gets like that. When she gets like that, a lot of guys are saying, I don't want to talk to you when you're like this. I don't want to deal with you. You know what I mean? They withdraw love. And that's a scary thing for a woman to when a man withdraws love, right?
Yes.
So, and no one's saying to tolerate the behavior, but what they're saying is penetrate her with love.
Yes.
Pick her up, hug her.
Use love as you wield love as your sword to penetrate her, right? Like,
exactly. That's what you do, and you penetrate her with love. But like, again, if she's resistant, that's a whole nother problem, because true femininity wants to always be penetrated.
Because they always want to
receive. They're always receiving. So even in those states, if she's in a moody state, if she's in whatever state, frustration, doesn't know where her emotions are, as we've talked about off camera, her emotions are left, right, teetering. The feminine always wants to be penetrated by love. And that's what the man provides.
So, but then the question is, what does love look like?
Well, it depends on who it is you're dealing with, because everyone has their own interpretations, and that's the problem with coming down with a consensus, because everyone's going to say, well, my meaning is this and my meaning is that. We all know what love is.
Yes.
We all know what it is. So trying to come up with our own definitions is kind of pointless. Yeah. We all know that love is selfless. We know this. That's the baseline. Love is selfless. Love doesn't ask for love. Love just loves. Period.
Yes. And there's no judgment either.
And there's no judgment. It's just love. So again, we have to stop trying to web out of this is what I think it means. No, there's a general consensus.
So what I'm understanding you're saying is, based on a woman, if there's conflict, the woman would prefer to be loving, just be there without having to do anything. You'll get a better, not a better result, but that could be an action.
You'll get a better outcome. Yes. Because if she's moody,
supporting them.
Yeah, because if she's moody and you say, well, I'm going to withdraw presence, I'm going to come talk to you in an hour or two, I'm going to withdraw presence. The feminine, because again, what femininity is vulnerability. So when the feminine is vulnerable and you withdraw presence, now she gets worried, because she's like, I'm feeling this way, and what he's doing is withdrawing presence.
Yes, which is what she wants, which is to receive.
Exactly. So if
Yeah.
we were to use it in a metaphorical type way, it's like back in
Yeah.
the day when, you know, I guess we could use like caveman days or whatever. If the man withdrawed himself, the woman was vulnerable at home by herself with the kids,
Yes.
right? So
Yes.
again, that's the thing women always fear is when a man withdraws presence.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why in the book of The Way Superior Man, they say don't withdraw presence, maximize your presence. Doesn't mean be needy, doesn't mean do all these other things. But what you do is when she's in that way, you penetrate her with love. You let her know, you still hug her, you still kiss her, you still make her feel penetrated with that because she'll say, wow, like my emotions are all over the place and I can still receive this man's love.
I feel supported is basically.
Yeah, exactly. Like I can still receive this man's love.
Mm-hmm.
Now, again, there's healthier ways to do that because, again, depending on who you're dealing with in the situation, I don't want guys to say, well, Michael said on the podcast to penetrate her with love, and then here you are blowing up her phone. No. Yes. What I am saying is that with a woman who's reciprocative, when you try to penetrate her with love, she reciprocates it back and says, well, yeah, I feel this way, but thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for still making me feel loved. That's okay. But you blowing up her phone and there's no reciprocation, that's a no.
Well, you can go both extreme. You go missing, where you withdraw and you're like, you disappear. Yeah. Or you're overbearing and then you're trying to blow up the phone, right?
Yeah, exactly. You're trying to force a puzzle
piece. And those two you don't want to do. Yeah.
Exactly. You're trying to force a puzzle piece that doesn't fit. So
yes.